What's going on, Pokemon Go trainers? Welcome to episode 8 of the Lured Up Creator Series, the podcast bringing your favorite content creators to talk about their work, process, and the game that brings it all together, Pokemon Go. Lured Up is part of the Pokemon Professor Network, and today is July 13th, 2020. I'm your host, Ken Pescatore, joined by my co-host, Adam Tuttle. Adam, what's up? How are you?
Hello, I'm doing fantastic.
I'm glad that you're doing fantastic, because this is a fantastic day, because we are joined once again by Brandon. You know him as Mystic7. What's up, man? Welcome to the show. How are you?
What's going on, everybody? I'm doing great, guys.
Yo, that was like the fucking Doppler effect. That was.
I'm looking at the sound wave.
There was no really editing done there.
I am Chewbacca.
What's going on, man?
What's up, dude? Hey, chilling, vibing and chilling, bro. You know, just kind of like keeping it cool over here.
That's great, man. Is it hot by you, dude? It's like it's fucking blazing in New Jersey. It's been hot.
Yeah. Okay. So this is always a fun conversation I have in streams. Is like my version of hot and everyone else's version of hot are two very like it hits 80 degrees here, and I'm like, dude, this is wrong, you know. But I feel like 80 degrees anywhere else is like a nice sunny day.
80 would be nice. It's like 95 in Jersey right now. It's cooking.
I can't do that.
I took and turned off my AC unit because it's right next to me. So I'm no longer chilling. I'm just vibing. No chills. Just vibing.
Straight vibes. All right.
All right. Well, hey, why don't we get the show started here? Brandon, why don't you introduce yourself formally, let us know about your content, and we'll start talking about some details and get into it.
Yeah, dope. Name's Brandon, or Mystic7 on the internet. I'm a Pokemon Go YouTuber, but more broadly kind of like mobile gaming. Came from the Clash of Clans world and scene, and then in 2016 hopped on the amazing community hype wave that is still alive to this day, Pokemon Go. And just kind of make videos, travel around, catch Pokemon, and scream about shiny Pokemon is essentially kind of my vibe. So that's me. That's what I do.
Yeah, man, I thought this game was dead.
People still play that?
Hey, funny enough, fun statistic. Pokemon Go had its most profitable first 6 months of a year this year in quarantine.
I saw that. I posted the infographic the other day on Twitter, and it's like I made the joke like, yeah, people still play that game. It's unbelievable that how there's been like this awesome juxtaposition of player count going down, but dollars per capita going up.
Right.
It's like amazing. It's like that just shows the loyalty and the longevity of the willingness of the community to spend in a game. It's amazing. It's super cool. You know, and we just recorded with Pope Dave last week. The episode just came out today, and it's so cool because he came from the Clash of Clans world too. And he said, yeah, when I first started, you know, I did mobile gaming, I did Clash of Clans, and it's like I know you started there too. So that's pretty cool. I love Supercell. I've played a bunch of Supercell games. I've played Clash Royale every day since launch, free to play. I play that game literally every day, and I played pretty far in with Clash of Clans and Boom Beach. I never did Brawl Stars, but I love their games, man. And I'm excited that Pokemon Unite has a tie to them through Tencent and everything. So it all kind of comes full circle.
Yeah,
it's pretty neat.
That'll be super interesting. Yeah, 100%. And honestly,
I'm fired up about Unite, man.
Excited.
I'm looking forward to that.
It'll be like a fun.
I think that could be cool.
Yeah.
So you said you started with Clash of Clans, but how long have you been doing content in general, and when did you start making stuff for Pokemon Go?
Yeah, so my YouTube channel in, I think, February hit its 7-year mark. You know, Mystic7, 7 years, so it was kind of like a fun little thing there. Yeah, so 7 years essentially on the Mystic7 channel, which is like the more formal content that I've produced. That's kind of like I created the Mystic7 channel when I was like, okay, I kind of want to like, you know, I might want to be like a YouTuber, like I want to be serious about this. Before that, I had another channel which will go unnamed, but it's just it's so cringe, bro. It's so bad. Like the moment that my channel blew up, I was like, I'm gonna take these videos down because I'm gonna get bullied on the internet because there's. Like, I would bully myself if I were to see them. They're really bad, you know what I'm saying? Like, really bad. Like, I had a video
Listen, there's still some of me up there from when I first did TCG content, and I'm like, I'm just going to leave them.
No, well, it's even like when new fans write to us and they're like, "Hey, man, we love your show. We went back and started listening from the beginning." It's like, ooh.
Right. Oh, I feel the same way, bro. I've got kids who are like, "Yo, I love your videos. I've been binge watching all of your first Pokemon Go videos." It's like, dude, I don't know if you're old enough to go binge those videos. Like, I am not the same person I was then. But yeah. So YouTube on the Mystic7 Brandon channel has been for 7 years, and that started off on Call of Duty actually for 2 videos, and then I kind of just gave it up because it was just hard. it was a lot of effort to make a Call of Duty video, and I was just like, this might not be for me. And then I picked up Clash of Clans, and then that kind of just like took off, and then transitioned to Pokemon Go. And the I've been making YouTube videos and making like videos like, I mean, as long as I can remember. I've always loved creating things. Like I was a big like Bionicle Lego person. I just love the process of creation ever since I was like little baby Mystic. And then
Nice.
and then I got, you know, when I went into high school, I got a computer to go to the school because I went to like a private Catholic school. And we all got MacBooks freshman year, which was great, but we had to pay for that as a part of our tuition. They didn't just give it to us. So I had the MacBook, so I was like, oh, cool, I've got iMovie on here. So I was just kind of like dabbling around making things in iMovie. I had friends, like older friends when I was at like 10 years old or less, like younger than 10, who made videos and made YouTube videos, and like it was always fun being a part of like their production stuff. So I don't know, I've kind of always been into it. And then hopped into gaming, got really addicted to Minecraft, which was my intro to gaming, and then got really into Call of Duty when my mom finally let me play it when I was old enough to. And then I really enjoyed content creators like KR Speedy in them, and they made like Call of Duty funny moments montages, and I like loved those, so I tried to make them myself. And then Jake got me into Clash of Clans, and then I started making Clash of Clans videos, and then that blew up. And then Pokemon Go came out. Week 2 of Pokemon Go, I finally I bent. I was like, all right, fine, I'll play this game, because I was like one of those like I'm a proud Clash of Clans YouTuber. I'm not playing this new stupid game. You know what I'm saying?
Right, right.
I was very proud of my game. But yeah, no, tried Pokemon Go out. It was incredible and a lot more fun than Clash of Clans was for me, especially at the time. And yeah, it kind of just, it blew up, and then it made sense to make the transition from Clash of Clans to Pokemon Go. So that transition happened. It was very smooth. And then I've just been banging out Pokemon Go since week 2 of launch and chilling and vibing.
That's
Nice.
awesome.
And what was the motivation to start creating the content? Was it the fact that you thought the game was compelling, or did you see more of a positive trajectory for content and growth with that game over Clash of Clans?
Yeah. So I mean, it was both, right? So there was a point at that point in the Clash of Clans world and community. A lot of us content creators were kind of just like floating about of like, okay, so the game's stale. Supercell is focused on other games. This game's not being updated. There's not a lot of things happening. Viewership is just dying, right? Like the Clash of Clans online YouTuber community was just kind of like fading out at this time. So a lot of us were thinking like, okay, so we can either just stick in it, right? Keep doing day to day and hope that it improves, or find new things to be able to jump to be able to consistently keep growing our personal brands, right? So like there was a level of a business decision made that was it would be better for me and my brand and my interest in gaming and content creation long term if I make the switch from Clash to Pokemon Go. Like obviously that was part of the thought, just because it can't not be. But also too, it's just I was going from making YouTube videos in my well, it wasn't, I would like to say office. It was really my family's living room. I don't know how they survived years of me swearing at Clash of Clans in the living room while they had to like exist around me. I feel so bad looking back on that. But yeah, so like, I went from basically just making videos, sitting down in my house and just grinding this game out for like 12 hours plus a day, and then editing in the house, to be able to go outside with my friends, have fun banter and funny moments, and walk around, interact with other people, and be outside. Like it was such a dynamic switch up from how I did things and how my game operated in Clash of Clans to how it worked in Pokemon Go, that it was like, I don't know, it opened this like whole new part of like, whoa, like there's a different world of content creation for gaming that exists out there that isn't just sitting in your house and playing, which is fun and fine. But once you do it every day I did Clash for probably like 4 years, right? 3 years, 4 years, somewhere in there, long time, right? It was just kind of like, it was getting a little stale. Like, I don't know, like I wanted to go out and do other things, and Pokemon Go was just ridiculously fun. You guys remember month 1, right? Like it just ridiculously fun. And the video dynamics were different because I got to like go outside and record outside, and like funny moments would happen with my friends that I could actually like record and upload. Like it was so cool. And I always wanted to like, as a gamer, you always look at the vlogging scene and you're always like, man, that would be fun, right? Like being able to just not have to be stuck to one single topic and just go out and kind of live my life and make videos. And Pokemon Go was like this fun little mix between the both of like, I can go outside and kind of live my life and record the funny moments and highlights, and I can also play a game at the same time. And it just was like the best of both worlds. So yeah, I mean, yes to both, right? There was a business decision made there of this is just better for the brand long term. And this game is just way more fun.
Yeah, and there's so many different ways to play the game, so it's always going to be fresh no matter what you're doing.
Right, and that's been shown through just if you look at the Clash of Clans, and I'm not trying to like say anyone's better than anyone, but like you look at the Clash of Clans scene in world now compared to the Pokemon Go scene in world now, like it doesn't. They're just, I don't know. It's just like you said. There's different ways to play. There's different kind of content to make. Whereas in Clash of Clans, it's just kind of like we all made the same cookie cutter stuff for years and years and years, and there's not much variability to the content that you can create. Whereas in Pokemon Go, I mean, you want to do PvP, you want to go travel the world, you want to catch regionals, you want to do shinies, you want to do that. You know what I'm saying? There's like a million different things to do.
Yeah. And you were new to the Pokemon franchise with the start of Go, right? Like you kind of got your introduction to it with Pokemon Go.
And what an introduction it was. Yeah. Yeah. I learned very quickly.
Like, who are these monsters? What are these things? Like I know. Learning all their names over, like that had to be like such an incredible learning curve, because like so many players that have experience with the franchise, it was like a throwback down memory lane. But people that start up for the first time, like the amount of information that you have to learn on the fly every time a new generation releases, like that's got to be a challenge within itself. Like how was that dynamic where you're actually learning about the franchise as you're learning about the game? I mean, that had to be pretty interesting.
Yeah, so it was fun, obviously. Like as a kid, I was never a Pokemon kid, but like I always like kind of liked watching Pokemon, and I was interested in the games, and I always remember as a kid thinking like, I wish I knew more about this game because it looked so fun to play, but I wasn't like a gamer kid up until like a little bit later. And when Pokemon was super big and big around me and big with my friends, like I just kind of wasn't into gaming at the time because my parents were very much so like, no gaming, sports, go outside and play. Don't stay inside, go outside and play. Those were my parents. So I missed the Pokemon wave, right? So to be able to like hop on it, it was so fun because I was like, wow, I can finally kind of like get into this franchise and this game that I've seen so long but never been able to interact with. And it was fun, right? And it was cool too because it's like, I don't know, like people who went and played Pokemon Go who were like lifelong Pokemon fans, right? This was an awesome throwback. But for me, it was like every Pokemon I saw was the first time I ever saw it, which was like
That's
really
so cool.
fun. It was cool until I made content and the comment section ate me alive for not knowing the names of certain Pokemon.
Yeah, but see, that's the best part of Pokemon.
Right.
I can pronounce things wrong even though I've been in and out of the franchise like the whole lifespan of it.
Right.
Yeah, Adam, I do the same thing, man. It's like we were talking about Kyurem, like last week. I pronounced it like 3 different times in the same episode. It's like whatever, man. We know what the fuck I'm talking about. That one.
Wait,
it's like that's half the fun.
What's the pronunciation?
It's always.
I guess you could say
people bust our chops all the time.
It's probably like when you played Draconius Go, and you're like, "What are these things? This is a watermelon pig. I don't understand it."
You really Adam like really feels the need to bring up Draconius Go
no,
like,
I love
as
that.
often as possible.
I love
dude,
that.
It's like
yeah. And
Jesus,
what's your
Adam.
feelings on Delibird?
What's Delibird?
And that too. Delibird is another one. It's like Adam's like, at the supermarket checking out, and they're like, "Oh, did you find everything?" He's like, "Yeah, but what are your feelings on Delibird?" Like he just has to talk about Delibird. Everyone.
Like the Pokemon Delibird, or like a knockoff game that's called Delibird?
Yeah. No,
I'm still waiting on a baby form or an evolution.
I'm down.
I got my
shiny
would be
last year.
freaking cute.
I'm so happy. I love Delibird.
I got mine Christmas Eve.
Oh man.
Or oh no, it was on Christmas. But the time changed, like I caught it and I screenshotted it instead of catching it. So it says in my decks that it's 12/26, and I am so sad about it. But I know in my heart that I clicked on it and it said 11:59.
Oh.
The screenshot proves it. So it was a Christmas shiny Delibird, but it was a minute late.
Yeah. I mean, that's incredible though.
And that was my goal. Was like I went
It's
so
a Christmas
hard.
miracle.
Right. Exactly. That's okay. Well, mine wasn't that cool, but like that's awesome. I love that. That's like a cherished forever memory with Pokemon Go.
Yes. Yeah, and I have the podcast to listen back and remind myself.
I love that.
Do you remember what your first Pokemon Go video was like?
Yes.
As far as like creating it, editing, everything like that?
Yeah,
what was the feelings?
Oh my god. So back in my day, we didn't have screen recorders.
Which was a Wednesday.
We didn't have screen recorders didn't exist, okay? Like this was the hardest part about making Clash of Clans videos is these crappy like Reflector, like it was called Reflector. The program was called. It's still asked to this day. Reflector devs, do something about this, please.
Ancient technology.
It's like you have to screen mirror your. So the easy way to do it. Right, the hard way to do it was downloading a program called Reflector, and it went through Bluetooth and mirrored your screen from your device to your computer. Right, that's how like mobile content creators made content before screen recording was a thing. Because screen recording was like jailbroken applications. Like there were no actual applications that the App Store allowed or any store allowed to record your screen. I'm speaking more on iOS because I was iOS up until Team Galaxy Gang. So it was difficult, right? So like what I had to do for the Pokemon Go video is the other way to record your screen is using the application QuickTime Player on your Mac. You plug in your phone and then you can mirror it flawlessly through that. That's how I made all my Clash of Clans videos. To make this Pokemon Go video, and I did this on the pier as well, I think maybe the first time I went there, I had to take my laptop, have it open in my backpack, walk around with my opened laptop in my backpack so my phone can get plugged in to my laptop to record the screen. It was hell. But luckily we only walked around like a little neighborhood, so like it wasn't like we weren't like running, right? Because that would have been a problem. But like that was really hard to do. So that was the first video because I didn't know what I was doing. I was like, well, I got to record my screen, but like you can't, but like I have to. So yeah, but yeah, it was fun. I mean, we walked around, we like found new Pokemon. We did the Pikachu glitch. Like my first ever Pokemon Go video has like well over 1 million views, which is kind of dope. Back in the day where you could get 1 million views on a Pokemon Go, we're past that now, but it has it. So like It's kind of a cool little thing of like, wow, we did a dope idea for the first video. But yeah, we did the glitch and we caught new Pokemon, and I remember I think freaking out about Zubat and how hard it was to catch. I didn't know how to throw a Pokeball in general, so like it was hard. So yeah, it was very fun. A lot of swearing and good times with friends.
Awesome. And I know we talked about your older videos, and somebody was looking at them. When was the last time you looked at one of your older videos?
Now, I will say, so one thing that JT Gilly has done in his live streams is when it's time for like dinner, right, when he eats, he'll go back and watch an old video and eat so that he can be eating his food and not having to talk with his mouth full, and chat gets to still stay entertained. It's like a watch party, right? It's kind of dope. So I was like, well, I like that. Nice. So I started doing that on my channel too, on Twitch. And I've gone back to a couple older videos. I think the oldest video that I went back to that still included all the swearing and stuff was the Santa Monica Pier video where I caught 2 Dragonites in one night. And I mean, yeah, there was like F-bombs flying everywhere, and I was like, wow, I'm sorry, everybody. Hey, these are different times, you know what I'm saying? Like, my bad, but it is what it is. So yeah, I have sort of. I haven't touched the Clash of Clans log in a while, so I can only imagine what's in there.
Now, what was the reason or your influence to move over from YouTube to Twitch?
Oh, got it. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, with the Twitch transition, I mean, it was almost the same thing as the Clash to Pokemon transition, but it was platform based to where so for me, I always did YouTube videos, but I always really liked watching live streamers, and I always really thought the concept of doing live streams was so fun. Back in the Clash of Clans day, I struck this deal with this company called Camcord, which is no longer around, but they were doing great back in the day. And it was a live streaming company. So I had like a deal with them where I did 2-hour streams per week. And I loved the live stream. They were so fun. The fans loved it. I loved it. I got banned from Clash of Clans from Supercell from some trolling we were doing as like a fan. It was so fun. I can tell that story too. But so I just always liked it. I always liked the live interactions. I always liked the moving chat. It was just so fun and random, and people would ask goofy questions. It was a good time. You know what I'm saying? So I always liked that. And as a YouTuber in the gaming world, you always look at live streamers and you're like, wow, that would be cool to be, because all you have to do is for 6 to 8 hours a day is just sit down, play video games in front of a live audience, and then get off and I'm done. And as a streamer, a lot of streamers like YouTubers, because it's like, well, YouTube's dope because you can make videos and you can, you don't have to sit down for 6 and 8 hours at a time and in front of a live audience. And, if you want to take a couple days off, you can do that, right? Like you can schedule video. There's a lot of pluses and minuses to both, obviously. But as a YouTuber, I always looked at Twitch and streaming and I was like, this is cool and something I wish I could do. And obviously with COVID that happened, as a content creator who makes videos predicated around going outside and exploring the world, there wasn't a whole lot that we could do in terms of content creation in the Pokemon Go community, which is why you saw the entire Pokemon Go community go over to the Twitch, because it's like, well, we can make a couple Pokemon Go videos here and there, or maybe like explore out in our car, right? Kind of play it a little safe. And we can still keep content going so that our channels aren't irrelevant, or people don't forget about us, or our brand doesn't die. We can still maintain the YouTube brand, But we have a lot of extra free time now, and this is also at the same time where YouTube ad revenue was taking a dip, and I forgot why, but watch time and views were going up, and YouTube ad revenue was going down. There was something happening with YouTube ad revenue to where like everyone across the platform was randomly for a couple months there making less money than they normally do, right? So you've got a time as a Pokemon Go content, I'll just speak for myself, right? Where I'm looking at my analytics and like, I can't produce content, my income's going down, and I've got a bunch of extra free time, right? I like, what do I do? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to just like sit around like complacent and just be like, well, I'm gonna watch my brand burn and just, sip a tea and smoke a cigar. Like, say no, like I was like, okay, Twitch seems like a fun thing. Like, let's hop on the Twitch
Yeah, the
thing.
smartest decision with what you took what was happening, you made lemonade out of the lemons that you were given.
Exactly. Right. Because I could still play Pokemon Go on stream. We could do Pokemon Sword Shield or Animal Crossing or whatever, and I could stay inside and produce content. Now, obviously, I talked a lot about the monetary side of that, and that I don't want that to give off the impression that Twitch was only a money move, but like, you have to factor in when you're producing all day every day that like, time is money, right? So if you're going to put hours and hours and hours of time of your day to something, not only does it have to be fun and enjoyable and good for your brand, but like, it has to be profitable. Otherwise, or it has to at some point amount to something that's profitable. Otherwise, like, you're just, I don't know. It's not that you're wasting time, but it's that you're not using your time, or at least I wasn't using my time in a way that was like, affecting positively all aspects of the business and of the brand. Because at the end of the day, like,
YouTube
is a brand, but it's also a business.
Yeah, the ROI.
Right. So so Twitch was cool in that aspect where like I was able to offset financially some of the stuff that was happening on the YouTube front. But it was just one of those things that I just always wanted to do and always enjoyed so much when I was able to do with Camcord. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do it. And then I was doing it and it was working and people were coming out and it was like fun. I was like, okay, you know what, I'm doing it seriously. So like, redid the entire office. I upgraded the PC, like, did the whole thing. So now it's like I'm totally down with the full-time streamer vibes. Twitch is so fun. It's so fun.
That's fantastic to hear. With moving over to Twitch, does that give you a greater freedom than YouTube?
No, not at all. No, I understand where Twitch streamers come from. You know what I'm saying? Like, I get it. No, not even remotely. But that's the thing. It's like, it's a trade-off, right? It's like, I get to sit down in front of a live audience for 6 to 8 hours and grind out the Twitch, and it's super fun. But I also do YouTube, right? So I have to do both now, to where I'm uploading consistently and streaming every day, except for 1 or 2 days a week. So now it's like I get the best and worst of both worlds at the same time. So it's been a weird year.
Like, how are you going to, balance those once, everything opens back up, and, what's your content going to look like moving forward?
Right.
Are you still going to have a Twitch, consistently? YouTube consistently?
Yeah.
How are you going to balance that?
So, and that plan is just, what I tell you is probably not what's going to happen. You know what I'm saying? It's so tentative. I have no idea. What I would like is to be able to have a consistent, like when I'm home in Los Angeles, I'll stream every day except for 1 day a week that I spend with my girlfriend, right? Like when I'm home in LA, like I will bang out the streams. But if there's a Safari Zone or a Go Fest, or I want to take a weekend to go do a community day in like another city, you know what I'm saying? Like there will be stretches where I will not be able to live stream because I'll be out, right? And I feel like my audience is so understanding of that it wouldn't create too much of an issue in Twitch. Because for a normal Twitch streamer to say that, who's only a Twitch streamer, for games that they sit down and play, they're like, you know what? I'm going to take some weeks and weekends off. Like that just comes across as lazy. It's like, oh, well, what do you mean? You know what I'm saying? Like you're like you can't just leave your work. Like what? You know, like the fans are like, what the heck? Like why would you just abandon us because you want to go have fun in like Morocco for 2 days? I said Morocco because I was listening to the Trainer Tips interview actually.
Right.
I meant to say Maldives because that seems like somewhere where someone would go to but Morocco too. But you know what I'm saying, right? Like but with where I am in the Pokemon Go community, like the people who are on Twitch came from YouTube, so they get it, right? So I feel like there will be a schedule that will be able to be created that serves both audiences and, doesn't overflow my life with an unmanageable workload. I would like to.
Yeah, because if everybody's out there playing GoFest, why would they sit in and watch you when you're not there playing GoFest? Like I'll wait for the video.
Exactly.
I'll wait for that.
Right. So that's the thing. It's like, if GoFest next year when GoFest happens, like this year I'm going to live stream the half of GoFest day 1, right? But next year when GoFest happens in whatever city it happens in, like I'm gonna go over to that city. I'll take the weekend off of streaming. Like, I would hope people understand.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And What do you think the difference is between like the audience itself? Because I know that the difference in dynamic of creation is very different from one platform to the next. But what about the audience? Like you were saying that the Twitch audience might say, oh man, you're lazy. What do you mean? You're going to abandon us if you take 2 days off? Where on YouTube, they might be a little bit more understanding of that. Like, are those audiences very different, or do you see some similarities between the two?
I'm both. I mean, the audience, the Twitch scene, and this is from the dynamic of how content is created and produced to the dynamic of how content is consumed, and the kind of people that do the creating and the kind of people that do the consuming are really different on YouTube and on Twitch. It's listen, it's both gaming. Let's just like compare the gaming worlds, right? It's all encompassed under gaming, but the demographic that you're streaming to and the demographic that you're uploading, it's very different. It's different people who enjoy consuming content in a different way. It's super different. And that's like the one cool thing that I realized about that. Now, obviously there's similarities in the sense of like, if I take a week off of YouTube videos, people are going to be like, yo, what the heck? Cause I don't ask people to do this, but it's just what people do. And I've done this before to where like, if I upload every single day, my videos become a part of someone's day. Right. And that's not like, I can't like blame the person and be like, well, you shouldn't be doing that because what if I'm a person too. No, it's like, that's just what people do with their daily schedules. It's like, okay, cool. Like, I'm home from work. I'm going to watch my Mystic7 video. Right. Or like with a live stream, like, hey, I'm home from work. I'm going to, hop in the live stream. Like people just kind of schedule you into their day as they can. So when you start messing with their schedule or messing with your schedule, which messes with their schedule, I mean, people, will get a little, maybe some people will get mad. Some people will be understanding, but be a little disappointed. Like, it's going to happen, right? So that happens on YouTube and on Twitch, but the expectations are different on YouTube and on Twitch because and it's very much.
That makes sense, right?
Because people pay on Twitch to be a part of the community, right? You don't do that on YouTube. You consume all the content for free. So the dynamic's different to where if a Twitch streamer goes from streaming 25 days a month to streaming 15 days a month, why would someone pay $5 a month for, 10 less streams per month? You know what I'm saying? It's like, but on YouTube, it's like, you're not going to unsub to someone because they took a week off of videos, right? What that's going to do to the YouTuber is that their algorithms are going to then be affected so that the next time they upload a video, it's not going to have the push because their channel doesn't have the algorithmic momentum that it did because they took a week off, right? Like you get punished on YouTube for taking time off, but not from people, from the upload algorithm that is the YouTube notification and sub box system, right? On Twitch, and I use the word punish, not because people are doing it intentionally, just because it's a good word to use, I guess that makes sense. On Twitch, you get punished by the viewers because why would they pay the same for a less amount of content? Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like
for less,
yeah,
right?
It's like if you become inconsistent.
That makes total sense.
Right. So like
that makes total sense.
Same but different, just because the dynamic of both platforms are the same but very different.
Right.
Understandable.
Right. And what was it like building an audience on Twitch after having like such an amazing long history on YouTube and this awesome volume of audience on YouTube, and then going to Twitch and kind of starting from ground zero? Was that like a cool journey?
Yeah.
Like that had to be pretty humbling as well.
Yeah, and it, and I will definitely like say and admit, like, it wasn't a ground zero start, right? It's a cheat code, you know what I'm saying? Like if I got a big YouTube channel, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do Twitch, right? I got this like this base amount of viewers that I'm gonna always have, that are gonna always be there, that I can then build off of. Because it's on Twitch, it's very difficult, and on YouTube, it's very difficult to build from zero, from the number zero. Very difficult, like, especially nowadays. It was much easier 10 years ago, really hard right now. So to be able to start off with like a springboard into the Twitch scene from viewers from my YouTube channel, I mean, it was, it made the transition over like a lot more exciting, right? Because I mean, the streams were filled with people, and people were like chatting, and it was super active and super hype from day one, which was really cool. So yeah, I think bringing that YouTube audience over to Twitch made that transition a lot more fun and a lot more smooth, and it just worked really well, And humbling, yes, in the sense of like, a YouTube video gets 100,000 views, but a live stream gets 400 viewers, right? So it's like, and there's a lot of people who love to come in and make sure that that. Like, yo, your YouTube videos get a lot of views. What happened to Twitch? It's like, wow. Different audiences, you know what I'm saying?
Thanks, bro.
Yeah, I appreciate
Thanks
that
for reminding
analytical
me.
report on that, buddy. Let me put you in, oh God. Yeah. So humbling in that sense, but I mean, I don't know. I didn't really, and I don't know if that's what you were referred to as humbling.
No, yeah, but that makes total sense because you're going to have an audience that's going to transition and they will follow you.
Right.
And that loyalty, though, is earned. So, I mean, that's it's not like anyone who's got that many subscribers on YouTube is just going to have that luxury of having those people come over with them. You've earned that loyalty from them by providing that content on YouTube, which makes them say, hey, what the hell, what's going on over here on Twitch? I'm going to check it out and I'm going to, remain a part of that community, even though it's on a different platform.
Right.
But did you expect it to kind of blow up the way it did? Because you're fucking crushing it on Twitch.
Not at all, man. Not even a little bit. I was just like, yo, we're gonna pop on and like dick around on some Animal Crossing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't expect it to be like a whole. Like, yeah, you're right. It blew up, man. It did so good. It did so good. And no, did not expect that. But that's the thing. It's like, using an established fan base to build another established fan base on another platform, it isn't hard per se. Whereas starting on a new platform without an established fan base and building is hard, right? So it was made a lot easier because of that, and it was made a lot more fun, and it was super exciting. No, I mean, from day one, it was sick and a lot bigger than I thought it would be. Even though, yes, random guy 456, my YouTube videos get 100,000 views and the streams get 400 viewers. I get it, you know what I'm saying? I understand there's a conversion there, but no, I mean, it's still so big, because I did live streams on Twitch when Fortnite came out, and I would get maybe 100 people in the streams, 50 to maybe 100, you know what I'm saying? So to 4, 5, 6, 10x that a couple years later, streaming, Pokemon, yeah, I mean, that's awesome. It's way, way bigger than what I've experienced in the past and way bigger than what I thought I would have experienced when I started it out. Yes, it was explosive.
Nice. And how did the whole Twitch eSports deal happen? Because I remember seeing that post come up, from the Twitch eSports handle, and I was like, yo, what the, how? This is crazy. How did that whole thing come about, and what was that like? Because that had to be a pretty sweet milestone.
That was nuts. Yeah, I mean, that was one of those cool things that whenever the content creation career ends in the very distant future, I'll be able to look back and be like, this was one of the dope things that what I'm saying? It turned into that. Yeah, so that was basically, obviously, myself and, Nick and Holly, we work with Niantic pretty hand in hand, and we have over the years. And with that comes some occasionally very cool opportunities where, Niantic's trying to try something, or they've got an idea, and you as an influencer, you know what I'm saying? You fit the bill of a nice little test, right? So that's kind of what that was Niantic came to me, and it was like, hey, we're trying to do this thing, we're working on this thing, and we think that you'd be a great fit for it, and we want to set up this live stream when Twitch will be on board with it, and we'll be able to get a whole big fun thing going, and it was a super cool random opportunity that I got from existing relationships with Niantic. Obviously they were leveraging me as a creator, and then I was kind of just doing my thing for a super awesome event that they helped provide and coordinate. It was so. I was so fortunate to get that. It was, and then obviously, I'm not a PvP guy, right? I'm not a PvP esports. When PvP becomes an esport at some point, I will not be heading that community. So I think it was a little bit interesting to watch me. A lot of people had a lot of things to say about that, obviously. But it wasn't so much of me and Pokemon Go trying to make hey, I'm Mystic7 and I'm your esports Pokemon Go professional. It's no, it's it was a test run of a larger thing that they kind of want to do. And it went super well, and it was very fun. So yeah, that was a really cool thing. It went, man, I was so pissed off. I tested everything and made sure it was all ready and working, and Murphy's goddamn law was like, knock, knock, I'm here. Started the stream. Issues I've
hearing
never...
your sub music over and over. We were cracking up.
Oh my God. Bro, issues I've never had before. I mean, there was audio issues. Dude, it was just everything that could have gone wrong was just what's up? We're here to mess up your day. But it still went well. You know what I'm saying? It was still a very fun time. The community was still very supportive. The guests that we were able to come and have on, everyone was super cool about it. It was so fun. Yeah, so fun.
Yeah, we did a little
Zoom
watch
call?
party on Zoom.
Yeah. Oh, really?
It was a lot of fun
for the event, and it was a lot of fun. We had a bunch of people in there. We actually Liz from Niantic was in there with us.
Oh yeah,
watching along. Yeah,
That's
so
dope.
it was exciting, man. Seeing those sub trains, just the barrage of subs. It was yo, I cannot believe this is happening. This this is fire. Like, this is really, really
Just
exciting.
pure
It was
madness.
so cool, man. No, it's like, and dude, it's like, I'm an old fart. You're like half my age. You've got this ridiculous amount of like, energy on 20, all day long. And it's like, I'm going bananas watching your shit. And I'm like, yo, this is crazy. Like, I could even my old ass is like, my back hurts, but I'm still like going, let's go. I'm like still screaming and shit. It was so fun. And it was really exciting. And I'm like, man, this is the future. This is the potential that this game has and the ability. And like you said, you're not the PvP guy. So people were giving a lot of shit going like, why is he this person? Why is he the one doing it? I'm like, because do you feel the energy? Do you feel the vibe? Like, that's why. And that kind of like lightning in a bottle that was happening during that stream kind of reassured me that all the decisions that Niantic and Twitch made for that deal were like, mwah, fucking chef's kiss.
Right.
It was perfect because like it was just the vibe was so great, the energy was so great, and it all came together. So kudos on that, man. It was as a viewer, it was fucking hilarious to watch. I loved we watched the whole thing.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Thanks, guys.
Definitely.
Oh yeah.
Now, you had mentioned that you were an iOS user.
Was.
And yeah, exactly. Tell us what, like that transition into Team Galaxy and like how you became associated with them.
Yeah, so Team Galaxy was a fun thing where, again, it was another one of those, like I was in Chicago for Go Fest. Actually, at dinner, and my friends, well, I don't even know who all was. We had a big deep dish pizza dinner night ready, and I was sitting down at the table, and then a friend of mine from Niantic texted me, was like, hey, come to this address to have dinner. I'm like, yo, I'm at a dinner. He's like, no, come here now. I'm like, really? He's like, yes. I'm like, fine. So I had to leave the big squad dinner, and I went and sat down, and it was, with a friend from Niantic and then a friend from Samsung, and we kind of just like talked over like, what Samsung and Niantic had in mind for a collaborative effort between the two companies and what that would look like, and bringing influencers on board, and just kind of like what the goal was there, and I was so down for it, and it was super cool, and I've never been a part of a conversation like that before, between like two higher level companies talking about a very large part, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was like a really cool thing to sit down at that table as an influencer.
You were like the middleman in the business deal.
I was kind of just a kid making jokes, like giggling along and like, yeah, good idea. No, yeah. I was like, obviously representative.
Where do I sign?
Right, exactly. Like I was their representative from like the Go community and influencer community. So like, I had some knowledge to bring to the table. It was a cool thing. But yeah, so like, that was the intro to that, and then essentially it was one of those like Samsung wanted to not just sell more phones or anything, but they wanted to be a part of the community. The guy who was, working with Samsung and helping this deal come together was like a very avid, still is I have him on my friends list. We're almost best friends. Very avid daily Pokemon Go player. Absolutely grinded it out. Was very integrated with his local community. Like, they were super about it. Like, Samsung was super about it. Of like, we want to come in and like be the phone of this community. Not because we're like better than anyone, but because like we actually care and we actually want to like help facilitate fun things, and we want to make this game a better and more fun game. And I just love that mindset.
And
I
was like, switch, Ken. What are we doing?
Dude, you don't believe me, man. I'm tagging Samsung Mobile US on Twitter all the time. Like, man, my battery really sucks on my iPhone. It's like, what do I do? No, but it's cool because we've had just in the past couple of weeks we've had Holly and Zoe on, so it's cool that we're able to hear from all of Team Galaxy's Pokemon Go representation. I thought that was really neat. And then like we were at the event I was at the event in. Was it December for Community Day when you and Gilly were at the Samsung 837 space in New York? So that was awesome. And we've had Gilly on the show proper a couple months back. So it's like, it's really cool working with all you guys and seeing that dynamic. And Adam what was it, PAX, Adam, where you were playing with Zoe?
East, yeah.
And he would not stop talking about the S20 and like how amazing the game looked on that phone.
I'm like watching over her shoulder. I'm like,
right.
Is this how it's supposed to look?
Even during the Twitch stream, Liz is like, holy shit, look how good that looks. Right. Like, look at the frame rate. Like, every time you would click on a Pokemon and the camera would just like sweep in and bring the Pokemon on the screen, it was like, oh my God, it's like pouring melted butter. It was so sexy. So buttery. Nice.
Yes, exactly. Well, that's the thing. It's like, they that's what they want their brand to be in the eyes of Pokemon Go. Not like, hey, here's another phone, but like, hey, here's a phone optimized to be able to play the best game you can play. And like that was like the vibe as well, and it worked, bro. I have a lot of people come in, I am right now in between contracts, okay? So I can say whatever I want and not be penalized for it, right? So
Nice.
so genuine, like, this is me genuinely, like, the phone plays so good and operates so good, and they've updated so many things about this phone, about the camera, about the general, like, UI and UX. Like, the whole thing is awesome. And I have so many people asking me the same question of, like, yo, how do you get Pokemon Go to do that? Like, yo, what setting is that? It's like, no. It's not a setting. It's the Samsung S20 Galaxy. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yes. but
I guess
it's the 120 hertz, man.
Right.
I guess my main question is,
sick.
what's the one takeaway from this phone versus the iPhone?
As in, like, what?
What's
like,
your favorite feature? Like, what can this
of the
do?
Samsung?
Like that completely blows the iPhone out of the water.
It's the 120 hertz. It really is, because you're not just playing Pokemon Go at 120 hertz. The phone operates at 120 hertz. So, like, everything is just better and more smooth, right? Also, the camera is absolutely insane. Like, with 100 times zoom. I mean, you don't really use it for, like, a serious picture, but, like, Lauren and I have been places where we'll, like, look off in the distance and we'll like debate of, like, what are we looking at? Because, like, she's got bad eyesight, I've got a bad eyesight, but, like, we both think we're right in what we're seeing. I'm like, wait, let me whip out
cute.
the 100 times. You know what I'm saying? And it actually works.
That's what Holly said. She was like, I call it the creeper camera.
Yes,
she like get like all up in someone's shit like from a mile away. She's like
ridiculous.
looking over someone's shoulder like that's walking down the street. She goes, yeah, it's super creepy, but I love it.
I'm reading their text messages from across the avenue.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. No. So I mean, that's more so of a cool feature rather than something that, like, would blow an iPhone out. But just the general. I don't know. The software in the phone works so well. It is so smooth, and the 120 hertz, like, you do notice across the phone, and it has better back. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's kind of hard to take a phone and be like, this is better because of A, right? Because it's like, why a phone is good is so many small nuanced things, like battery power and the quality of the display and of camera quality and you know what I'm saying? So, like, across the board where the S20 lands, it's just like, it's better than any iPhone that I've used, hands down.
All right.
Nice,
I'll take that for what it is.
we're both iPhone users, so it's like we're just digging for reasons to switch. And it's
Yeah.
Right.
yeah.
Yes. I am a lifetime iPhone user, so I feel it.
Now we do discuss PvP a little bit. So what are your feelings on PvP as a whole? Do you think it's going to blow up on the esports scene?
Yeah, so obviously, there's going to have to be improvements that will have to be made in order for esports to be like Pokemon Go to be taken seriously as an esport, and that's not just with in-game improvements. That's going to have to come with changes in how Niantic promotes and views and sees and kind of moves forward with the world of PvP, which it seems like they've already started doing, which is kind of nice. I think it has a potential to get there, obviously. It's just going to be... I think it will just be made difficult because of the Pokemon Company and the way that they run things and the way that they like to run things and the way that their company goes because of how they run their company. I think it might be made difficult for the same reasons for Niantic because, Niantic's not a competitive esports company. They're a go outside and explore company. You know what I'm saying? So if they really want this to be successful in the world of esports, the lens that they're going to have to look through at PvP will have to be different from their fundamental mission statement of the company, which might be a problem internally. You know what I'm saying? So I think what will make PvP a great esport won't just have to be changes made in game. It's going to have to be changes made at a corporate and executive level when looking at this. They'll have to look at this seriously of like, hey, this is something that if we build out can improve the longevity of our game exponentially and give us a spotlight on or give us a seat in the world of competitive gaming, which will shine a spotlight on our game that we have never had before and could really help put this game back on the map within the broader gaming community and on sites like Twitch. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
I think that there's a game plan that has to be put in play properly to make that happen on their end. And I think that there's changes in game that need to happen as well, but I don't doubt any of it. And I think that it is something that they are absolutely looking at and looking forward, or moving forward towards. And I think the Twitch live stream that they did with me was just kind of an example to that they are willing to, kind of go that route.
Go outside the box a little bit.
Right.
Yeah, that's great.
Now, does having big brands like Samsung supporting the game, do you think that's going to help?
Yeah, because who's going to pay for the tournaments? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
Because Niantic can fork it up, but no, genuinely, because the only reason why esports tournaments are big as they are is because of the prize pools and because of players willing to take time out of their day and their work to go grind a game to get good at it and travel somewhere. There has to be money involved with it. And that's just that's the fact of esports. If you look across esports communities, like the prize pool winnings and the money that's involved in the esports are as important as the game itself. Fortunately, unfortunately, however what you want to look at that. Like it's just part of the game, right? So tournaments will have to be funded. The esports league will have to be funded. Obviously, with if we're just gonna have something in Pokemon Go where it's like improved leaderboard and top player system, like no one's got to fund that really. But like if we want to do like large scale tournaments and we want to do global tournaments and we want to make this an actual esport, like either Niantic has to raise money and be willing to put in money for to fund and fuel that, or companies like they'll do like a Samsung tournament or a Verizon tournament where like Samsung coughs up $100K to or maybe like $500K, right? Like maybe like $400,000 in investment into like a facility and making it big and beautiful and awesome, and then $100,000 in prize pool winnings, right? So that that's gonna have to be a big part of it.
I feel like play Pokemon area of Pokemon will have to come into play at some point, because through Play Pokemon, that's how like the TCG tournaments are run and the VGC, and those are all like points based, but you do have to pay an entry fee for a lot of the tournaments. So it's I feel like that could coincide with the PvP tournaments as well.
Esports is different though, dude. Esports is a spectacle, and I think that from a tech perspective, and Niantic being a tech company, and this game being like pushing the limits of mobile technologies and really capturing that vibe of what an esports experience can be, especially for spectators, it's got to be beyond renting out a hotel ballroom like the TCG does or the VGC does. Like it's got to be a stage show with giant fucking screens and a big lighting truss and a big PA system and celebrity endorsement and big, like it's got to be its own thing. And that makes total sense that like a brand like Samsung could help usher that in, because they can throw down the cash. You know what I mean? Like that's really what it comes down to. And the ROI on that would be massive. And I think that it's a great partnership for someone like Samsung, because for a content creator, they're literally holding the phone and using it in every bit of content that they have.
Right.
So
right.
it really, really, really fits exceptionally well. You could have even like an athlete that has a sneaker deal or a clothing deal. It's like you're not going to witness or see that sneaker or that clothing in every bit of marketing they do. However, if you're in an esports situation and Samsung is sponsoring a gamer that plays a mobile game, everything about that creator in regards to the game is used through that device. So it just fits so freaking well.
Yeah.
Like it's really, it makes a lot of sense that Samsung would be doing this. And I mean, I look forward to, the 837 space in the city coming back alive once, the world normalizes a bit, because it was just such an amazing vibe being in that space, and like the energy there was just so cool. And they got it. Like it really felt like an organic experience. It didn't feel like, like it was fake. It didn't feel like someone was just reading off a script. Like they really felt the vibe of the community, which I really took, appreciated. It was pretty cool.
Dude, heck yeah. And then also, not to mention too, just on the esports thing, when we're the glasses that Niantic had invested in.
Yeah, buddy.
So
buddy.
Like yes, on the esports and like new technology that they're looking like, I feel like if Pokemon Go were to make a jump into esports, it would be in a way that other games have not done before, and I think it would be a very, very cool experience for everybody. So yeah, I think there's a lot of fun there.
I'm waiting for those Qualcomm glasses to come out, and sign me the fuck up. I mean, I don't even care. But I say this all the time. Like, give me a fucking cybernetic eyeball. I don't care, man. Yes. I just want AR. But like, just let I want to experience that. I think that's going to be an absolute game changer. And when you look back at some of the cool stuff that like Yu-Gi-Oh has done in AR, or even like League of Legends has done some really cool live event stuff with AR. It makes sense that could be a potential future for Niantic with Pokemon Go in an esports, setting. I think that's really cool. But let's shift gears really quick, because, I do want to touch on something that you've been pretty vocal about online, and I think that it's really important to talk about in the current state of what the hell is going on online right now. You've talked a lot about cancel culture, and this is something that where, when we said that we were having you on the show, our community brought up to us and they're like, hey, we really want to hear him elaborate a little bit on this, because you've been outspoken a bit and educating a lot of people on your feelings of how this all works, especially like with the Jenna Marbles thing and everything like that. So talk to us a little bit about what it's like, one, as a creator working in a space, knowing that you've been doing YouTube for 7 years and you've been building this community and you've been doing all this shit building this whole thing up for years and years and years, knowing that in an instant it could potentially go away because of the nature of the beast of, of what the culture has kind of built itself. So how can you speak to that a little bit? It's something I definitely wanted to touch on because I think it's really important to talk about this, because it's almost like a Voldemort situation. Like, people don't want to talk about it until it's time to talk about it. And I think that stigmatization of it is kind of leads to it having this ridiculous impact like it does online.
Right. Don't say the word. Yeah. So
yeah, exactly.
I think a big problem, just kind of like initially, is that like there is no definition for cancel culture. And what I've seen is that cancel culture now. Okay. So I'm obviously I'm someone who believes that it exists and that it's a problem and a fundamental problem, and one that's rooted deeper than a lot of people kind of think and perceive, and it's going to create issues in all aspects of life if it goes unchecked. Like, I believe this is a really big issue. But a bigger issue is that, no one knows what it means, because it happens in different cultures and circles, right? It happens in the YouTube and like the YouTube world. It happens in the social media world. It happens in political world. It happens in the educational and the university system. It happens in so many different areas in different ways that it's just like when people try to have a conversation about it, everyone's talking about something different or a variation of it, so that the conversation doesn't flow or make sense, because people are just talking about different types of you know what I'm saying? Like, the conversation's been hard to have because there is no definite definition of what cancel culture is or means. And obviously, if you're someone who subscribes to cancel culture, you have your reasoning and your rationality about it, that then makes you think like, oh, it doesn't exist. This is just good people doing. So yeah, okay. So my problem with cancel culture is that obviously it very much so does exist, and it creates a problem to where someone will have said something 10 years ago, and it can come up, and that person could be just like, that could have been just a bad joke or a tasteless joke someone made, right, when they were like younger and dumber, or when it was more acceptable to do so on the internet, because that's also true. And then someone will bring it up and be like someone will watch that and be like, wow, this is really messed up, thinking in today's world and today's climate, right? This is really messed up. I need to bring this to light so people know how bad of a person how bad of a person this person is. So then that will blow up, and then everyone will be like, wow, look at what they said 10 years ago. That's definitely indicative of who they are this very second, which means they must be a bad person, which means we must rid them and their scum off of, the face of the earth so that we can make utopia. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the mindset behind it. Right. So now here's one thing that I will say is that I know I've been tweeting stuff, but I've been trying my absolute hardest to retract from doing that. Not because I'm afraid of cancel culture, I'm afraid of being silenced, or I'm afraid of being wrong. It's more so that, like, I know enough to know that there's a problem, but I don't know enough to stand up and make a good, coherent, real argument around it. And that's a problem that I'll have right now talking about this, because I can give you a little context of what my opinion is on this problem, but I can't give you the details, the quotes, the dates that I would need to be able to create an obviously strong and coherent argument. So this isn't, this is more so my opinion on this rather than like my indefinite argumentative stance. The problem with cancel culture that as I look into it more and research more.
We're having a conversation.
Right, yeah. So the problem that I'm understanding more and more, so that now, like, the more that I look into it and the more that I research about it, is that this isn't a problem that is like, this is like it came out of nowhere. It's happening today. People are getting canceled. It's for good reasons, but it's bad because no. This is something that has happened. And been happening at a much more fundamental level for kind of a long time, and it's a problem that's been voiced by people in very niche circles. And now it's starting to bubble up and become a problem for everyone in society, because it's gone so unchecked in small niche circles to where it's now an issue for all of society, as we're saying. So there's this thing called this ideology called postmodernism. So what modernism is, okay, so you've got like Dark Ages, right? Then you have the Enlightenment that happened, and then Enlightenment thinkers. And what Enlightenment thinking was is that every individual is capable of rationality and reasonable logic and thinking for themselves and going out in the world and creating through experience and through knowledge, like rational understanding of the world, right? The world isn't what the Catholic Church says it is, or it isn't what the philosopher, like the Stoic philosophers say it is. No. The world is what we can create of it through ration and through logic and through science, and there's actual explanations for things rather than just kind of like voodoo explanations for things. Like as in, like the thunder and lightning isn't, the gods punishing us. Like, no, that's just like there's a scientific explanation behind thunder. Like that was the Enlightenment thinking of like, wait, like there's another way of a real way of explaining certain things and why they happen. And what I'm saying? It's like the belief that each individual it can be rational and reasonable and logical, that there is right and wrong, that there's truth out there, that there's, that science, like that's the Enlightenment thinking. Modernism is essentially what happened after the Enlightenment thinking. The hundreds of years after that of progression in, in everything. I mean, you look at rates of anything. You look at rates of poverty, or you look at rates of death by disease. You look at certain diseases. Like you see these things, from when the Enlightenment was to now, the world has gotten so much better. And before that, that's not what happened. Like the world kind of stayed pretty consistent for a while before the Enlightenment. Post-Enlightenment, through this new ideology and this new like lens of looking at the world, the world was, massively improved, right? Like we in a couple hundred years went from like Stone Ages to we're seriously thinking about colonizing on Mars. Like that's an actual question and conversation. Like that's insane. The rate of progression has been insane, right, through modernism. So there's this ideology called postmodernism, which essentially is assuming that modernism is dead and has failed, right? The lessons that we learned from the Enlightenment, they worked for a while, and they've stopped working. It has stopped working now. It has stopped applying. We are noticing issues, and like modernism is over. So we need a new lens to look through the world at, which is postmodernism. And the overgeneralized explanation I can give between the difference between the two is that modernism, you use objective rationality, right? Modernism is based and versed in objective rationality about the world, about situations, about people. Like that's the lens you look through, is objective rationality, which is facts, logic, it's context, it's all of that, right? Science, that's that. Postmodernism is like, no, there's something wrong with that. Like, that's not right. That's part of the problem, is objective rationality is part of the problem. So, postmodernism's lens is subjective opinions and emotions rather than objective reality and logic, right? So that's where cancel culture comes from. It's bred in that, to where if someone says something 10 years ago, right, and let's say they say something that could be perceived as sexist 10 years ago. 10 years ago, people said things like that, and that was okay and acceptable, not because it was okay and acceptable as in general, but just because times were different 10 years ago, right? And maybe it was too tasteless, and maybe they shouldn't have said that, and right. But to look at that and then be like, wait, they're part of the problem. They they are part of the issue. This person is part of why people are suffering today. Like it's part of, we have to eradicate this person and everyone who thinks like them in order to solve the problems in the world, right? It's not rational. It's not logic. It's I listened to something, heard something emotionally, and I felt emotionally that this was wrong. This must be wrong because I feel bad and it sounds bad and it seems bad. So it's got to be wrong. Throwing rationality and logic and objective reasoning behind and aside, it's got to be subjective. You know what I'm saying? Like that's kind of like the lens at which cancel culture looks through. So the problem is that when something like that mindset happens more broadly, like you see double standards, you see, and that's why when you look at these situations as a rational, logical person, you almost laugh of like, well, this doesn't make sense that this person's getting canceled, because if you think about it or you rationalize it or you use logic or, you look at the person throughout their life and, like it just doesn't make sense to brand this person as a racist or a homophobe or as in, anything, and then cancel them because of that, because of things that were said years and years and years ago, because logically it doesn't make sense. Objectively, that is. Subjectively, it does make sense. So the problem of and again, this is not based on enough studying as I would like to do, and I don't have the knowledge base that I would like to be able to fully have this conversation, right? But the thing that I'm noticing more and more, which is why I'm talking less and less, is that cancel culture isn't an issue that we can just casually address and be like, it's an issue. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got to stop this, because it's like, no, it goes deeper than that. It's a new ideology that's sweeping across Western nations called postmodernism, in which it's birthed out of, right? So I think that's the more fundamental problem with cancel culture. And PewDiePie had a really good statement when Jenna Marbles quit. And it's like, well, if you go ahead and cancel all of the genuine, real people who make mistakes and are willing to apologize for it, and you cancel them, you get rid of them, all you're going to have are just fake people who have fake lives, and nothing will be genuine. The whole internet will be disingenuine, fake, and just garbage that just feels good and sounds good, but really isn't good. You know what I'm saying? It's like, what would you rather have, right? So, yeah, I mean, the Jenna Marble situation was, right. The Jenna Marble situation was a kind of a good one because, I mean, like, yes, years ago she made tasteless jokes and tasteless videos in today's climate. But you have to understand that years ago, it wasn't as tasteless as it is now, which doesn't mean that it was okay, but it doesn't mean that because they made jokes back then when it was more acceptable, that they now in today's world should be absolutely canceled. Think about it this way. With where we're going in science, we will no longer have to eat red meat maybe 100 years from now. With like we're impossible, like we're going to get to a point where meat created in a laboratory is significantly more healthy and significantly less unhealthy and has no negative environmental output that the meat industry has, to where it's going to be a no-brainer. So what do you think people 200 years in the future are going to think? If we subscribe to this mindset of subjective feelings, right, and postmodernism, in 200 years, every single one of us who has ever ate a piece of meat will be canceled, and statues will be torn down, and people will be like, look how bad these people were. They ate meat, they polluted the environment, they were so insensitive, how bad. You know what I'm saying? It's like that mindset, it just doesn't scale over time. It doesn't extrapolate well. And that's what we're saying. And again, this is why I don't.
Yeah, thank you for putting it in that context.
That's really interesting.
It's just a hard conversation to have because, again, I don't think I know nearly enough to have this conversation. So this is like, you know, this is as far as I can go with this. But summing it up with the cancel culture issue is that it's not just an isolated incident in our time in like 2020 of like, oh, people are getting canceled. Like, no, this is something that's rooted in an ideology, that's rooted in philosophers from, you know, 150 years ago, 100 years ago, that's now manifesting in modern day society and culture. And I can, you know, go a little bit in. Essentially, this ideology has been tried and tested, and it's you know, if you want to go political, like, you know, all of these philosophers, when they went into society, into their political realm, all fell into one single side of the political spectrum. All of these fundamental philosophers who created this ideology that people don't know exist but subscribe to anyways, all part of the same side of the political spectrum, and it is very much so a political issue, but it's much more so a fundamental and ideological issue, and it's a hard conversation to have because not many people want to talk at that level nor know much about that level, and I'm one of those people. So I've been trying to tweet less and kind of learn more.
But honestly, I think that, and I appreciate you opening up and talking about it, because I think that, one, this is a great platform to do that, and two, it's important to share this information. Again, even being humble of saying, like, look, I don't know all about this, but these are my feelings, and being okay with that. Like, I mean, I subscribe to the position, like, I'm a huge fan of stand-up comedy. I believe that stand-up comedy is one of the last bastions of true free speech, and there's a battle going on right now with that, where people are saying, like, I mean, if you go back and watch like Eddie Murphy Raw, I mean, you're going to be like blown away with how insanely insensitive it is. But I still think it's fucking hilarious. But it's does that necessarily mean that Eddie Murphy today in 2020 doesn't deserve to be Donkey in a Shrek movie? No, you know what I mean? Right. So it's definitely a tough situation, and I think that there needs to be a balance, and I think we should hold creators accountable for those things in the past, or be able to have discussions about those things. But when someone comes forward like Jenna Marbles and says, look, yeah, this was fucking insensitive, but that's not who I am now, and I was leaving it on the internet purposely to show that transition and to show that growth. And it wasn't like she was, immediately going back and like, oh shit, I got to delete these tweets or I got to delete these posts. It's more of like, that was what things were like 10 years ago. And, are we going to
look at the progress that we've made?
It's
like, look how much better we are.
It's definitely interesting. And I think it's a great conversation, and I appreciate having it. And especially with you being as young as you are, man, it's like, I've seen shit in my life because I'm old. You know what I mean? It's like, I've been through some shit, and it's like, with you being younger than Adam and I, it's like, growing up, seeing this more in your adult life, it's like I've seen the transition myself. You're kind of coming up into this, and it's like, it's an interesting conversation, and it is
very much so.
It is a great way to approach it, is the path that you're taking and saying, like, look, I'm going to back off a little bit because I don't know, I'm not educated enough. However, this is an important topic and it is worth talking about. And we just got to find those forums and those abilities to talk about it. It's good stuff. I mean, I think that we should hold creators accountable if they're fucking up today. You know what I mean?
Right.
The going back and digging stuff up from the past or finding yearbook photos and then saying like that's who the person is today. If they are that person today, then sure. You know what I mean? Like have at 'em.
Right.
But the majority of people that are dealing with a lot of this cancel stuff right now, they're not those same people anymore. Now, does that mean that it shouldn't necessarily be brought up or shouldn't be part of the conversation? Probably not. It should be brought up. But allowing them to have a platform to rebut is equally as important than just saying like, nope, I don't care what you have to say. You're done. You know what I mean? It's
so, but understand like, so that's part of the problem of the whole, again, it's not like, and that's the hard part is that this isn't as easy as being like, okay, well, we should just give people a platform where they can essentially defend themselves against, the court of the public opinion. Now that's what I'm saying. It's like that was my thought initially, and I was like, no, wait. So I forgot. Let me just make one more point here. So with the subjective versus objective. So objective rationality uses fact, logic, and reasonable rationale, right, to like come to conclusions. Subjective opinions and feelings doesn't use any of that because postmodernism doesn't believe in that. Doesn't believe in rationality. It doesn't believe in the teachings of the Enlightenment. Like that's like it's not like we're going to go with something else. It's that we don't believe that this is true or works, and we're making our own new thing. Is what this is. So if you believe like that and you think it's like, okay, so well, I feel and think subjectively that this person, because they said this, is a racist and they're part of the racist problem that we're experiencing today. Nothing that person can say in defense will stand because regardless of any objective truths or facts, that person who's critiquing the influencer subjectively decides, I feel that this person is this person, and anything that they say has no relevance or means nothing because I brand them as, a racist or a homophobe or whatever.
They're already checked out of the conversation. They're already
wow.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Right. So now that's actually the problem, and that's the real fundamental problem that's happening. Obviously we don't see the full light of it in the gaming community. And this is what I'm talking about. This is why like an honest conversation about cancel culture needs to be had and defined because that is what cancel culture is. It's subjective. It's a subjective opinion being used to silence anyone without that opinion, because if you bring fact and logic against a subjective person, they can just refute your fact and logic and be like, because you're this, your fact and logic doesn't mean anything to me.
Is null, right?
It just proves my point. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not a logical or rational way to have a conversation, and that's what's causing cancel culture, and that's why it's not that easy to solve or to address, and why I can't talk about it as much as I want to because I gotta freaking study.
Well, dude,
understandable. I think we all need to do a little bit of studying on this.
Yeah, it's definitely important, and we're seeing a lot of stuff going on in the gaming community now with sexism and abusive relationships and everything that's going on in the Smash community right now, and the Pokemon community saw it about a year ago. It's definitely delicate, and one of the reasons I wanted to bring it up on the show was because I think that like what Adam was just saying, we could all stand to learn a little bit more about this and have a better understanding of it to find that balance. And I think that balance between having subjective and objective opinions about a certain thing can help you derive a better and more educated position on a subject. And I think that's super important. And it's just, like you said, it's a difficult conversation, but I love podcasting and I love these conversations because it's you're not going to have a platform typically to have these conversations in a gaming space with unless you proactively just say like, you know what, let's put the brakes on fucking talking about dick and fart jokes or talking about Twitch and let's talk about something a little different. Like that's why I wanted to bring it up because I value your opinion, and I've had people say to me, like, dude, what the fuck is up with Mystic7? He thinks this, he thinks that. And it's like, dude, it's all part of the grand conversation. That's why I wanted to bring it up because it's not easy to talk about. It's definitely not easy to talk about.
Not at all. And in a lot of, and again, in a lot of ways, it's not acceptable to talk about, which is in essence part of the issues of cancel culture, is that honest conversation is unable to be had because subjectively speaking, if you feel like this conversation offends you in any way or can come off as a certain, ist, right? You're allowed to say you can't have this conversation because it's ist or it offends me. You know what I'm saying? Like that's an issue in essence of the problem of freedom of speech, and that's why a lot of people are standing up and be like, yo, there's an issue of freedom of speech, and a lot of people are like, yo, you're dumb. It's like, well, again, like we need to outline what the heck's going on. Nobody knows what's going on. You know what I'm saying? It's like
exactly.
It's so because I can say something about a lack of freedom of speech, and then something about like postmodernism or an issue here, and then someone could be like, wait, so you're against the Me Too movement? It's like, no, I'm not even talking about
right,
the Me Too.
Right.
Because it's all under the same umbrella of conversation, but it's not specific enough or outlined enough to where we can all have one focused conversation. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, and that's the thing. It's like, like you said, like if people are doing things today, right now, that are despicable and bad and wrong, I mean, yes, right? Like that should be known, and that person should be held accountable for their actions right now. And when it comes to things like Me Too, like, dog, if something happened 10 years ago, I mean, in that aspect, like, something still happened 10 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't just get to, like, walk away scot-free.
Right,
like, that's just not how justice works, right? So, like, but then there's, like, the court of public opinion has never, ever worked nor been tried in societies for a goddamn reason. So just because you're, like, an internet warrior and you're like, I'm going to bring good to the world, doesn't mean that that's actually good for society. There's holding people accountable, and then there's silencing and deplatforming people because what you think what you think is ultimately right. And again, that does not apply to Me Too, right? That applies to different topics, but that's hard to have that conversation because it's like, there's so many variables.
This is left field, but don't our cells and stuff regenerate every 7 years? So like, basically, we're a new person. Physically.
I like that. Right.
Every 7 years. So, I mean.
Right.
That's interesting. I
didn't have those same fingernails that I had 7 years ago.
Exactly.
I didn't have that same brain 7 years
ago. That's the thing. It's like right. And that's that is literally a biological fact, and that biological fact and all others should be able to be used in honest conversation when talking about difficult topics.
It's great, man.
And that's why I love the podcasting world. What you guys do here is super awesome.
That's great, man. We really appreciate it. And I think that on that note, we could kind of wrap things up because it's like I appreciate those conversations. And dude, on air, off air, I'd love to continue the conversation because I want to educate myself. I want to learn about this. I want to be able to destigmatize the conversation about it. And again, that doesn't mean I'm pro or a con or against certain things. I just want to destigmatize the conversation because as a podcaster and as someone who is a conversationalist, I want to be able to engage in those conversations, and I want to put myself outside of my comfort zone because I think that that's when the best conversations happen. So it's 100%. It's really cool, man. So I appreciate you digging into that a little bit, and if I appreciate our listeners for coming to a situation like this and being able to go from talking about gaming to talking about something a little heavier because that's what we try to convey on this is learning about the creator, learning about people, because there's more to creators than their content. There's more to creators than the games they play, and especially in the world of the internet and social media and the Twitch culture and things like that, you're connecting with the creator on a personal level. And whether I'm watching you, eat your lunch or cook your lunch or play a game or, go on a date with your girl or whatever it is, I'm there for you. So supporting the human is a very important thing. And I think that the only way you can really, truly support the human is if you understand that human. So having these conversations just assists us, in becoming closer and building that rapport with each other to, understand each other better. So awesome shit, man. Awesome stuff. We really appreciate it.
I love that. Yeah.
So great, man.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, dude, thank you so much. Why don't you let our community know, where can we find you? Of course, links to everywhere you can find Mystic7 are going to be in the description. Make sure you please check them out, like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. But where can our community find you?
Yeah, so I mean, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Mystic7, Twitch, the Mystic7 HWD, because someone stole my username and they can't get that for me for some reason.
Bastards.
So there's that. Yeah, Mystic7 anywhere and everywhere. I'm about.
Awesome. Awesome. So, yeah, we'll definitely put the links in the description. Make sure you check out Mystic7. Everyone else, please check out luredup.com for everything that we going on. We got our email contact, phone number, all our socials up there. You can listen to all our shows, but we really do appreciate it. We're going to have Gaming Together Media coming on next week, so definitely keep a lookout for that. Everyone, this has been an episode of the Lured Up Podcast Creator Series. Keep training trainers. Mystic, thank you again.
Yes, thank you.
We'll see everyone else next week.